So number one says, which equation best represents the relationship between x and y in the graph? So remember, when you're looking at the graph, you do need to find 2 points. So we create a table out of those 2 points. So we have x and y. So here's 1 point, and in this case, it's going to be 0, 3. And then we find another point, which is exact, and I'm going to go with this one, which is -1 and 0. So now, once we have that, we could go ahead and find the change in x and the change in y. So here, the change in x is what? -1. Minus what? And then the change in y is -3. So now we're set it up as change in y over change in x. And this is going to be, change in y is -3, change in x is -1. Negative divided by negative is going to be positive, so that means this is going to equal to 3. Now this is your coefficient. So your coefficient, we go ahead and look for it. So it should be 3x. So we have 2 problems that have 3x, which is A and B. So we eliminated 1. Now, all we have to do is find out what the y-intercept is, or where is the initial value. So remember, initial value you're looking for when x is 0. So when x is 0, y is going to be what? You looked, and we wrote it on the table. When x is 0, y will be 3. So in this case, that's what we're adding. So we're adding 3. So that means the one that is correct is letter A. The way you could check is to actually do the math. So I'm going to substitute the 2 points into y. So if you say into letter A equals to 3x plus 3. Well, when x is 0, is y 3? Yes. So then that means that equation is correct. Then we could also do it for the next ordered pairs. So 3 times -1 plus 3. So 3 times -1 is -3 plus 3. So that means that y should equal to 0. So because those two are correct, then we picked the right answer. So you could always check back to see if you did it correctly. Or you could have started off doing this. Actually find 2 ordered pairs, check to see if it's correct. It works out, and if it does, then that's a correct answer. Okay, so number 2, we're talking about triangles. So it says the measures of 2 angles in a triangle are shown on the diagram. Which equation can be used to find the value of x? So we know that this is what kind of a triangle? Isosceles triangle. So that means 2 angles are going to be congruent, right? And the 2 angles that are congruent is the base angles, which is the opposite sides of the congruent sides. So that means I have to have x plus 48 equals to 180. So when I combine like terms, that's going to be 2x plus 48 equals 180. And this is what we did on Friday. If you weren't able to do the notes, you need to go into Google Classroom and do your notes. So that means my answer is going to be letter... Well, if you look at C and D, yeah, it says 360, so those are wrong. So it has to be letter A. And that's how you know that that is a correct equation. Any questions on that? Okay, so let's go ahead and take out your notes from Friday. You guys remember your notes on Friday? I'm going to go over 2 problems of what was covered on Friday. If you do not have a copy, I do have extra copies. Make sure you raise up your hand if you do need a copy, and I'll be right over. So on Friday, we covered triangles because we've been working with triangles for a while, and then supplementary angles. So this is just a reminder. This is not on your notes, so you don't need to write anything down. It's just a reminder on how to do it. So it says interior angles should total to what? What do interior angles in a triangle total to? Hello, people. Yes, thank you. Somebody's awake over there. Okay, so it's 180 degrees. So knowing that, we could write an equation because I know that if I add this plus this is going to give us 180. So I'm not going to write it on the line of the equation yet because we need to make it combine like terms. So I have 2x plus 5 plus 55 plus 40 equals to 180 degrees. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to combine like terms. Those are like terms. So now I have 2x plus, if I add 55 plus 5, that's 60. 60 plus 40 is 100. And that equals to 180 degrees. Okay, now we're going to solve for x. So this is my equation. I'm going to go ahead and write that in. So 2x plus 100 equals 180. So now that I have the equation, I could go ahead and solve it. So in order to solve it, I'm going to subtract 100 on both sides. This becomes 2x because 100 minus 100 are 0 pairs. And then 180 minus 100 is 80. Then I divide by 2. So x will give us 40 degrees. So that's how we do the triangles. Okay, now there's times that they're going to ask you what this angle is. So when they ask you that, then all you have to do is get 40 and add it and multiply it. So 2 times 40 is 80 plus 5. So that means this is going to be 85. This angle will be 85 degrees. Okay, now supplementary angles are angles that equal to how much? Supplementary angle, it's also 180 because if you notice, supplementary angle will create a straight angle. Okay, so now that we know that, then we could go ahead and do 80 plus 5x equals to 180. Okay, we have that equation. We don't have to combine anything, but we do need to solve for x. So let's go ahead and subtract 80 from each side. So that becomes 5x is equal to 100. So when we divide by 5, x will equal to what? 100 divided by 5, it's going to be 20. So x is equal to 20. So now they're asking me for this measurement. Angle HF, so remember HF and G. So they want to know what that measurement is. Well, if I know x is 20, so 5 times 20 will give us what? Because that's what we started off with. So that's 100. So that means this measurement should equal to 100 degrees. And that's what we actually took notes on Friday. On Thursday. I keep saying Friday. On Thursday, and you had a practice, so make sure you turn that practice in today. I do have extra copies if you need it. So let's go ahead and do today's notes. Now, I know you didn't have to write this, so make sure that you did write the other notes. And if you need the notes from Thursday, then I have a copy of that too. So here is part of your notes that you have, your folder. Okay, so complementary angles are similar to supplementary, except that complementary angles is a pair of angles that add up to 90 degrees. And you could see it on the picture. Because if you look, 27 plus 63, when you put them together, it actually adds up to 90 degrees. Now, when you could see them separately, like you have this one that you're adding, or you could see it sharing a side. And remember, that side is an adjacent side. And guys, that's part of your vocabulary, so make sure that you understand what an adjacent side is. Okay, now that we have that, then we know that any two angles that create a right angle should add up to 90 degrees. So let's look at the first one. So you have this first one, okay, and we have a missing angle measurement. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and write an equation and then solve for x. So I know x plus 38 will equal to 90 degrees. Okay, don't confuse the two of them, and I'll show you a trick on how to not confuse it. So in this case, when you do that, we could go ahead and solve for x. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 38 from each side. So 10 minus 8 is 2, 8 minus 3 is 5. So that means this equals to 52 degrees. Now, sometimes they won't give you a picture, but they'll tell you it's complementary. So make sure you understand that. And just so you remember, when you have a C, you could actually turn it to a 9, and that tells you it's 90 degrees. So when you have a C, turns to a 9, and it's 90 degrees. So let's go ahead and see what that is. I know that one of the angles is 51 degrees. So what would I need to do to find the other angle? If they're complementary angles, you're subtracting from what? 90 degrees. So 90 minus 51. So that's 10. So 10 minus 1 is 9. 8 minus 5 is 3. So that means the complementary angle will be 39 degrees. Okay, and the last one, what we have is 22 degrees and 2x. And they're all complementary angles, so let's go ahead and write an equation for that. So 22 plus 2x equals to 90 degrees. We're subtracting 22 from each side. So that becomes 2x, because that's 0 pairs, is equal to 78. And then we are going to divide it by 2. So x equals to 48? Oh. Oh, it's 68, sorry. Wait. $58. Wait, I'm getting confused. It's 68. You're getting me confused, Matthew. Okay, so 68 divided by 2 is 34. So that means that x is equal to 34, but I still want to find out what this measurement will be. So 2 times 34 will equal to 68, Matthew. Okay, so the next part we're doing, they're called vertical angles. And vertical angles are two angles opposite from each other when two lines intersect. And that means just that cross. Intercept. Intersept. Now, vertical angles are congruent. Intercept. Okay. So basically, if you look at this picture, the first one, you have two lines. They crossed or intercept, so they created four angles. Okay? So what two angles look about the same? C and A. So that means angle C is congruent to angle A. And those are called opposite angles. How about what other two looked about the same? B and D. So angle B is congruent to angle D. So that means they have the same measurement. So if they give you one measurement on vertical angles, you can find the rest of the measurements. Okay, so let's look at the example here. So here you have two lines that cross each other. Okay, they create four angles. They gave you the measurement of one angle. So if this is 55, which one will also be 55? Say it again. No, on the bottom one. So be this one, yes, the top. So that's going to be 55 degrees. Now, if you notice, you also have supplementary angles in this. So I'm going to go ahead and write up here supplementary angles. So supplementary angles, so I know that angle B and plus angle C will give me 180 degrees. I also know that angle C plus angle D will equal to 180 degrees. Angle D plus angle A will equal to 180 degrees. And then angle A and angle B will equal to 180 degrees. So if you notice, you do have supplementary angles all around. Okay, so if I know that those vertical angles are supplementary, then what would be this measurement? Okay, supplementary angles equal to 180 degrees, right? So I just told you that B and C are supplementary here. C and D are supplementary. D and A are supplementary, and A and B are supplementary. So in this case, these two are supplementary, aren't they?
Would it be 70?
Well, I don't know. How are you getting 70?
I just did 55 plus 55.
Okay, but
70. And then just added 70.
okay, well, no, because those are opposite angles. They're not supplementary angles. So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and do this. So it's 55 plus X equals to 180 degrees.
It'd be 45.
Dude, I already said 45.
It's not 45.
35?
Please do the math. So you're subtracting 55 from each side. So X will equal to 125.
I was close. I said
that's not close. Okay, so if x is 125, then this is also going to be 125 degrees. Okay, guys, supplementary angles are two angles that equal 180 degrees, sorry. So if you look at the letter S on supplementary, if you draw a line, that equals to 180. So that's how you can remember. Also, the letter C comes first, so that's less, so it'll be 90. S comes second, so that's 180. Okay? Or you could also see that the S are two C's. So if you know complementary, then you're doubling for supplementary. There are different tricks to remember them. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the other examples. So here we have 55 degrees, 125, which was given to you for the other one, and then 5x. Well, I know that 5x has to equal to what? 55. So if I put it equal to 55, then I could solve this. X will equal to what?
Oh, it was.
What will x equal to? 11. And see how easy that is? If you know those rules about about vertical angles, then it'll be easy to find x. Okay, let's go ahead and do the last one. So you have 3x minus 4, then you have 34, and then 146. So what can I do to find x? So I know I need 3x minus 4. That has to equal to what?
1x. Oh, wait, no. 146?
146. So then you're going to add 4 on each side. So that's going to be 3x is equal to 150. And then 150, you're dividing it by 3. So x will equal to 50. Now, is that the only way we could have solved that?
No.
What other way can we solve it, Nicholas? Since you're saying no over there.
Wait, no. That is the only way.
No, it's not.
Oh, you were right the first time.
Okay, so remember I told you that there's supplementary angles when two lines intersect or cross? So when you do this, this is supplementary, so that means when you add those, has to equal 180 degrees. So you could do that way too to find x, and you should have the same thing. So 3x minus 4 plus 34 equals to 180. So you could actually combine those, so 3x, because you're combining these two. So that's going to be 30 plus 30 equals to 180. When you subtract 30 from each side, you're left with 3x, which equals 150, which is the same thing we had over here. So it should x equal to 50. Okay, so that's another way you could have found that x. Same thing on the other one. You could have added those two, and that would have given you 180. Any questions on any of this? Okay, so this is your assignment for today, but you still have Friday's assignment you need to finish. This includes triangles. It includes a supplementary. It includes complementary. And it also includes the vertical angles. So this has a little bit of everything. Like I said, tomorrow you do have a CDB that you need to work on. So it will not be due until Thursday. And if you're done with that, then I have extra worksheets that you could work on. So get to work.